Hi, and welcome to this video. I am going to go ahead and go over your M1A1 project topic assignment, and this is Dr. Halloran. So the deliverables for our M141 is, of course, to email me your project proposal topic for approval, and you're going to create a project proposal form and then write a 3 to 5 page Word document describing what your project will consist of. So the first thing, I have some notes here. It does say in the instructions that you can construct the elements of your project using Microsoft Word and Excel, which is basically all you really need for this class, or you may use Microsoft Project. It says you can download the full version of Project free through the Microsoft Azure, which is with Excelsior. Now, with that being said, if you are not familiar using Microsoft Project, it does have a learning curve, okay, and it does take a lot of time to learn it, and to be able to do what you need to do for most of the assignments in here, you're just going to be using a Microsoft Word document as well. And so you really don't need to download the Microsoft Project, so please do not worry about that, and just go ahead and just use your Word or Excel. It also is, reaching out stating you can use the free Apache Open Office suite if you do not have the Microsoft Office. But I do believe the Microsoft Office is available to you, and you can just contact the help desk or look on your resources on Excelsior on how to download that free version of Office while you're a student. Okay. So when we get to Module 3, I'm going to talk a little bit about a mind map program. You can use some free programs when we get to creating the work breakdown structure, but I will get into that later. All right, so for our M141 topics, some examples they put in the instructions: business projects incorporating a company, running marketing, building roads, buildings, mobile towers. Okay, so there's a lot of good ideas here, but the one thing is, since we will be building on it in weeks 3, 5, and 7, you don't want to get overwhelmed, and you really want to keep it simple. You want to make sure that you're not making your topic so huge that you're not going to be able to get through the project and get through this class, okay? So when you submit your topics to me, you're going to tell me what it is, and I'll probably come back and say, okay, so I understand that you want to do this, but why don't we look at how many projects are really involved in that one topic, and let's try to break it down to a smaller area, okay? For example, if you wanted to start a new business, okay, what we want to do is, there's so many pieces, and that is such a big project that you may want to just break that down into a lot smaller steps. And for example, if I'm pulling up this website here, so instead of just saying as your project topic, I want us to do a project on starting a new business. Well, here I went out and just did some Google searches, and this is the Small Business Administration. And so here's 10 steps to start your business, okay? So the first one there is conduct market research. Well, that's a project in itself, okay? Writing your business plan, that's a project. Funding your business, because you got to go out and search, find out about how that all works and how you will get people to invest in your business. Picking your location, choosing the structure, okay? So there's a lot of parts to starting a business, okay? So you don't want your topic to be start a business, because it's just too much, especially just for this project in this class. So what you could do is you could say, okay, I want to do starting a business, but I want to do just the conducting the market research part of starting the business, and that will be acceptable for your topic. Or you can say, writing your business plan and funding the business. You could put those two together, but we don't want to go so wide as starting your own business, because that just involves a lot, and there's many smaller projects in that. Okay, so the project proposal form. Okay, so it asks you to refer to 2.5 figure in your textbook, okay? And it says you can go ahead and create this form. Well, I have gone and done that for you already, and I'm going to go ahead and send you a link to a Google Drive where you can go ahead and obtain this. So here's your project proposal form. I went ahead and built this for you, okay, so that you don't have to worry about creating something yourself. All right, and I will share with you the link where you can access that. So in the proposal form, of course, we need to describe the topic. I'm not going to go through all of these, explain why the project is being undertaken. You need a project that has at least 6 months. Okay, we don't want to do a 5-year project either, but you want to do at least a minimum of 6 months. You need to include 4 team members that are going to be helping you on your project. You will be the project manager, and these 4 team members will be assisting you with the project. And you need to come up with a budget, of course, just hypothetical. Just try to use, the best estimates that you can in your budget. Even though the members may be assigned as salary employees, there's also costs associated with their work, and that needs to be specified. Of course, put everything in US dollars. And then the instructor's approval is required. So by the time you get to this, where you're creating the proposal form, you've already received my approval. Okay, so next, here is the information about the proposal, where I said it referred to figure 2.5, okay, and I've already provided this for you. And then please make sure you use dollar signs to talk about your monetary values in your budget area, and then use this format, the month, date, and year format for the ease of understanding. Okay, they are deviated from normal APA formatting, but in this class, we will have to deviate a little bit when it comes to some of these areas. Okay. All right, let's move ahead. All right, so before I go into the Word document, let me pull over here. I wanted to pull over here my, I'm going to provide a link to this to you as well. So what I took was, I went ahead and created this project proposal form. This was a student from a previous class. They wanted to do implementing cybersecurity at their place of work, okay? So implementing a cybersecurity plan is a big undertaking. So we worked together, and I said, hey, let's bring that down to one little piece of that big cybersecurity. So we came up with training to have employees go through training, okay? So what I did is I went ahead and I put, what's the business problem? Well, the employees are becoming susceptible to cybersecurity threats, ransomware, phishing, malware, etc. You can go ahead and read this, at your leisure. I'll provide a link to it. What's happening? It's causing data theft and loss due to carelessness. Okay, opening up emails with attachments from people you don't know, different things like that. So how does the project align with the organization's strategy? Well, information security awareness training helps stop breaches. Data breaches can cost millions. Okay, I'm not going to read every one of these, but you'll have a good example to use for your project. So when you get down here to the deliverables, this is a very important piece of your proposal, because when we work forward to the next part in Module 3, you're going to have to make a work breakdown structure, and the work breakdown structure builds off of the deliverables, okay? So I may come back at you in this first assignment and ask you to kind of look at and revise your deliverables, because we want to make sure that we understand that deliverables are not the same thing as the objectives of the project, okay? The objectives of this project is going to have the employees, will be going through the training, but what it's going to do is going to help protect the company from data theft and data loss due to carelessness. Okay, so that's the actual objective or the outcome of this project. Okay, so the deliverables, of course, are very different. Okay, so let me come back here just a second. I want to go to our next slide here. Okay, so deliverables, and I'm going to put this PowerPoint also in a link to a Google Drive for all these resources for you. But this is my go-to resource regarding deliverables is investopedia.com. And let me pull that over here. Okay, this is, it's quite lengthy, but it is an excellent article that explains what deliverables are, okay? And then if you continue to go down, they have a little video here about deliverables, understanding them, and then try not to scroll too fast, but I just want to go down to down here where it explains the difference between the objectives and the deliverables, okay? So let me pull back my PowerPoint here. So the deliverables are the quantifiable goods or services that must be provided upon the completion of the project. They must be specific and be able to be measured, okay? The objectives included all items outside of the project, such as the outcome and the benefits of the project. So we just talked about the cybersecurity. This is, of course, one piece of implementing it at a place of business, but the training is going to provide, you know, a little bit of less data theft and loss due to carelessness by employees clicking on phishing emails, things like that, okay? The deliverables actually allow the project to be achieved, okay? So let me bring my sample back over here for you. So here, if we look at the deliverables, notice I don't have anything about the outcome in there, okay? Because a lot of people get confused with this and they start putting the outcomes, what the project's going to do, how's it going to, you know, help. So the steps that we're going to take to complete our project. First of all, we have to assemble the cybersecurity risk team. This is going to be the team that's going to go out and they're going to start looking at different things. If you look at the next one, they're going to research the online cybersecurity training resources that are out there, okay? So first you got to assemble that team who's going to be a part of this project. So you have your project manager, and in this case, you need at least 4 team members. So they're going to go out and research these online security training resources, okay? So then once they go out and they look at a lot, they'll narrow it down to 3. So they're going to have demonstrations from those 3 companies, okay? And once they have the demonstrations, then the team will come together and make a final selection of which company they want to use to provide their training to their employees. So then, of course, they have to work with that vendor and come up with the implementation of training. So most of that will probably be outsourced to the training company, but they have to work with human resources and, of course, the IT inside the company to get all that set up, you know, to allow for the training to commence. Then, of course, once that's all set up, then you have mandatory notifications that all employees have to complete, you know, the training. Then you'll have the rollout of the e-learning cybersecurity training courses will go live. And then after that, you'll have data collection through the training resources, okay, to make sure that you're ensuring your compliance. So the company is making sure whoever this will be handed off to once the project is completed. It will be handed off to like the functional managers and stuff. So they'll continue on, you know, with the training because the project is just a temporary endeavor, okay? And you'll learn that in your readings this week, okay? So then they will ensure that the vendor provides the data collection, you know, that's showing that the employees, you know, who's gone through, if they've passed those little tests, you know, with 80% or better and stuff like that, okay? So keep that in mind. Make sure your deliverables are how are you going to get to the completion of that project. It's not the outcome, or it's not what the benefit of having this project is done, okay? And then you go down and put what's the impact if you don't do this project. Well, untrained staff, you know, you're going to start having them click on phishing, and you're going to get into company records and put in malware and all that kind of stuff. So here's, you can just read. And then down here, some of the risks, because we're going to get into risks in Module 7. So if you kind of look at this now, then by the time we get to week 7, you'll kind of already know what your risks are, and then you can go ahead and just write your paper on the risk. But don't worry about that until week 7. But here's some of the risks for not implementing the cybersecurity training awareness. We have legal consequences, financial loss, cost of remediation, the loss of intellectual property, physical risk, becoming a target, loss of trust with customers, okay? And then some are, those are just the risks if we don't do this project, okay? And then we have 3 major risks for the project is what could happen that might come up while you're trying to implement this project, okay? So in this case, identifying constant emerging changes in cybersecurity attacks, ensuring employees take the training, effectiveness of the training, budget constraints, of course, buy-in from leadership and stakeholders, because it's going to be an expense to the company. But in the long run, it should benefit the company by providing the cybersecurity training. So then how are we going to measure success? As the employees are being more aware of the attacks will lead to decrease in insurance, compensation, liabilities, and other expenses the firm would have to pay out to stakeholders. That's our customers in event of an attack. If data breach, something like that. The results, result in a rise in business revenue and decrease in operational costs because we're not paying out all of these expenses when we get hit with malware or ransomware, something like that. Will this project require internal resources? Most likely, always you're going to say yes, because you're going to have you as the project manager and your team working on this project. Are the resources available? Well, they have to be. If you don't have anybody to help you to do this project, then you're really not going to be able to get the project done. And I didn't put in here the estimated cost of the project, but I'm just going to go ahead. I'll add in $10,000 here. So let me just do that right now. We'll just say that. And depending on the size of your company, like I'm just saying this is a small company, that could go a lot higher, depending on how many employees you have. But I'm just kind of saying that this is going to be a small company. And how long will the project take? Well, it's going to take about 6 months, okay? So make sure you keep your project within that 6 months to a year if you can help it. We don't want to go all the way out, because when you go forward and we start doing the work breakdown structure, then you got to do your critical path, which is the longest path of how long it's going to take to complete your project. And we'll get into that down in week 5, I believe. So you really do want to, keep everything simple and just maybe a big piece of, just a little piece of a big project. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and send you a link in the email. I'll have this video in the email for you so that you can go ahead and refer back and forth to this video as needed. I will have a link to the template, the project proposal form template for your use. You don't have to use mine, but it's got everything in it that you need to make sure that you are following the rubric. Make sure you follow the instructions, but always look at your rubric too that's in with the assignment, because you want to make sure that you are doing all of the items that are required in the rubric. And what I did is when I made up this form took care of everything in the project proposal form, okay? And then you're going to go ahead and the next part, or the last part here, let me go back to the Word document. So when you do your Word document on this, which is also another piece of this assignment, is all you're going to do is in the Word document is you're going to elaborate on what you wrote in your proposal form, okay? So you're going to just take each one of those pieces and just write like a paragraph or two about each one of these. So you're going to go into more detail about what your project is entailing. What's the goals and the deliverables of the project? You can kind of just copy and paste those deliverables in your Word document. And then you want to explain in more detail why the project is being undertaken, what it's going to achieve. We were going to try and help prevent cybersecurity attacks. Okay, and then the time frame, make sure you at least have 6 months. And then who's your team members? You don't have to name them. You can just say, um, my person from HR, my person from IT, my person from the training department, something like that. We don't want you to give names, or you can put hypothetical names if you want. And then also just estimate a budget. We know that that's, can sometimes be difficult. You don't know, what the costs are. When you are really working on projects and stuff, that's where you're going to have to enlist your team members to really help you come up with that budget. Because when you do your proposals to your project sponsor, then you're going to have to really know how much that project is going to cost before you get project approval. So just go ahead for this class. We're just doing hypothetical, just what you think it may cost to do the budget. Remember to keep in mind of the salaries of employees, but then, you have to include their salaries, and then you will include researching, like in the cybersecurity case is, the demos are usually free from the vendors, but then you've got to think about the cost of what it's going to cost you to buy the cybersecurity training from, the vendor, and then maybe you need to have their trainers come in to help with the IT piece of it, so just think of things like that, and it's just hypothetical in this situation. And then if you have any other questions or concerns or anything, please feel free to email me. And I hope that this video will help you out to get started on this first assignment. Thank you.